Ladies, gents, and everyone under the sun, welcome back to another episode of the Container Podcast, episode 21. With me, Kyle. What's up, man?
Yo,
Doing good?
yeah, doing very, very well.
It's been 2 weeks, I believe, and I think
Yep.
Jackie is also with us. Or is he?
Yes.
Yes,
What's
he
up,
is.
everyone? Yes, ready to go.
We have a lot to cover today. We have a lot to cover. Last podcast, I said that the next homework would be Berserk, but since it's such a big um, series, we decided to only cover the Black Swordsman arc and the Golden Age arc. And we'll see if we continue. We'll see with how you guys liked those very important arcs, and we'll determine whatever happens next.
I mean,
Yeah.
it took us 2 weeks to finish those two arcs. So, yeah, I think it would take a lot more time if we had to cover the whole piece. So, I think we can start with that, and
Exactly.
discuss. I mean, even in those two arcs, there's a lot to cover. So, it's not like they are small story arcs. They're pretty big.
Huge, just like that thing that you cannot call a sword, that big hunk of iron that is too dull, too raw. I was laughing my ass off when I was reading that description for how big Guts' sword was. I was like, bro, you could replace that with something naughty in your mind and it would work.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but yep.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, yeah. So, first impressions, guys. Um, I don't want to ask what platform you used to read the manga, but as you saw,
I bought it and read it correctly.
physically, yeah, of course, you have to buy the physical book and enjoy those beautiful drawings and story fully, just like you,
Exactly.
Jackie, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I borrowed the books from the library, so that's how I got my copies.
I see. It's just that sometimes, when there are some errors in printing, be it at the library or whatever. So I saw that like volume 8, 9, there was some mix ups in terms of, uh,
The printing at the library?
yeah, man, because, a library, it might be for renting books, but you can also, well, let's call it a bookstore, yeah. Be it bookstore or a library. It's
Mm.
sometimes you have those errors, right? It happens, but I was just wondering how you guys managed to do reading through all that, right? If it was sometimes mixed up.
Well, I don't think my books were messed up. I don't.
Oh,
I don't. Well, I don't know there, but the story seemed to be coherent
good.
on my part. So
What
I didn't.
about you,
I didn't.
Jackie?
Yeah, I saw that some parts were mixed up. For example, if one chapter was supposed to come after uh, some chapter, they were like mixed up so that it would be in the wrong order. But since you told us and you because you read the I think you read the arcs faster than us, and you were like, oh, you'll see in this volume some chapters are mixed up because the librarian didn't do their job. So I was able to to just I just went through the whole thing, but I just kept an eye out um for the chronology of the events. Just keeping an eye out to make sure that I was understanding that this was not supposed to be um, seen before this part and everything.
So
So that
you had no problems navigating it.
yeah, because I think I mean we're going to go into spoilers. It's the homework for today. Everyone knows the drill, but it's this story is not made in a chronological order, so I mean it doesn't hurt the reader when some parts are mixed up because I think that it's so well told that whatever piece of story comes your way, you're always able to figure out what's happening, even
Yeah,
though it's mixed up. And
I
since you
see.
had told us at the start, it wasn't a big deal for me.
I'm glad I could warn you guys just before. Oh, we got a notification of something quite awesome happening right now. I believe that we just got Gandalf the Tilted to follow the Twitch channel. Gandalf, if you want to follow that YouTube channel for the Container Podcast, feel free to do so. But yeah,
Yeah,
just
please do, Gandalf. Go to the YouTube
and
channel.
tell your friends.
Yeah, but you have to post on the you have to subscribe to the Container Podcast channel because now we're diffusing on your diffusing. Now we're broadcasting on
Broadcasting.
your yeah on your main channel, but yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Oh, subscribe to both channels.
Yeah,
It's
of
free. I
course,
mean,
it's
just subscribe.
free. And ring that bell, man. You don't want to miss an upload. But just to continue on the proper track, before we go into full spoilers territory, we read this immense manga that was Berserk, that was written, that was drawn by the late Kentaro Miura. The manga artist, the manga author, um, had a heart problem and he died at the very young age of 54 years old and left his story unfinished. But he was aided by competent people, and it is being rumored that they might continue the story themselves. But we don't know yet. But for now, right, let's take what we have and talk about it. The first arc is the Black Swordsman arc, and chronologically speaking, on the timeline, it's not the start of the story. It's what comes after a very tragic event that we'll talk when we discuss the Golden Age arc. So, guys, what did you think about that? Starting from a spot in the story where things were already into motion, characters were supposedly already like everything is going so fast. You don't really know what's happening. Were you guys lost? Like, did you feel uncomfortable?
Uh, So you see, when I started it, I my library book was a bit where I didn't press, I opened to chapter one, right?
Yeah,
So I read a bit of, uh, I guess what you would call the Golden Age, and then I talked to Jackie a bit, and we were a bit confused because we both started at the same place, but we weren't witnessing the same stuff. But I did go back and read the I guess you would call it. You said the Black Swordsman,
yeah, the Black Swordsman arc.
and I'd say that I didn't like it. I didn't like that arc. Because I think maybe because I jumped into the Golden Age beforehand, and then I went
Yeah,
back. But again, I just found that, not that it didn't amount to nothing, but like, almost. And reading back on it, like thinking about it, I don't think it's a very good introduction to the series. I find that if they would have started right away with Golden Age, it would have been perfect. I would have like I'll say it there.
Yeah.
I like the manga. In the beginning, like I said, when I started reading it, I went to myself, fuck. I don't like this. I'm gonna have to, you know, chug through fucking chapter after chapter of not liking this crap. But when I got past that, when I finally got caught back to Golden Age, I and then I don't know, it started getting good, and the art was also good. I found the art in the Black Swordsman was a bit weak,
Yeah.
or weaker than the Golden Age there. So all of that made it that my beginning I wasn't impressed, but then, and we'll talk about it later on, I I got more hooked the further I read.
That's awesome to hear because, as you know, it might not be in chronological order of events, but it is in chronological order of publication. So he leveled up as he drew, right? He found his stride as he continued the series. Back to you, Jackie. What did you think about that structure and the Black Swordsman arc?
Yeah, I agree with Kyle on the fact that the Golden Age arc is way better than the Black Swordsman. But I don't know, since like you said, like at the start we're a bit confused because he was showing me pictures of what he was reading and I was showing pictures of what I was reading and it didn't match up. So we were like, oh, maybe we're not reading the good thing. We're not reading in the right order or something. There's something missing out. So after we discussed it, it was better. But since I started with the Black Sword in the arc, I've got to say that I mean, it was a good introduction. Um, you get used to it when you start, reading stories and watching movies and everything. That it's normal when you start a story that you don't understand what's going on. So I just get past that because it's like every story. I just started reading Berserk and I was like, okay, I don't understand what's going on. There's a lot of stuff to catch on, but since it's the start of the story, it's normal. I'm not supposed to know everything, and I like that they don't like throw it all in my face. They don't start explaining stuff. I really appreciate that personally.
Okay.
Um, when you go further, it's not like the very good arc, but it sets up the characters. It sets up where he's at in his journey. So I found it I found it good enough for a start. And then when you switch to the Golden Age arc, I found it very good because you get to know the origin story and why he's obsessed with some things, like he doesn't want people touching him and he's very violent, and his grudge and how he knows about the Behelit and everything. So everything just sets into places v- very very well, I find. So yeah, I've not a lot of bad things to say about this arc. I mean, it's the start. It's a bit slow. Like Kyle said, it's not the most interesting, but I think it serves well the purpose of being the beginning of the story.
I'm glad you guys were honest about that. That the Black Swordsman arc felt pretty weak for you guys. It wasn't as good as the Golden Age arc, but do you find that it would have been better to present it afterwards in a chronological order, or it's just the material
100%.
that didn't jive with you guys?
Um, I think it was a very weak. I think maybe I'm a bit biased because I do not like flashbacks. I find I just, for some reason, it's just like you give me some story and then you stop that momentum, and then it's like, oh, flashback, and it's just like, and you're like, fuck, right? So you're reading, let's say, the Black Swordsman, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like, it's not my cup of tea, but whatever. And then you flash back, and then it's just like, and that's why when because I only read like a couple of chapters of the Golden Age there before, so it wasn't like I was huge, like I wasn't super advanced, but it was just like, oh fuck, now I have to fucking deal with I don't know how many episodes of blah blah to know what the fuck is gonna why we're here. Like I don't care anymore, right? I don't know. Flashbacks have never been my thing, and But I think that if they didn't do that, if they would have just put it in later on, I think it would have been better, in my opinion.
Okay, like it was a massive flashback when you think about it, but during the golden age we also had some flashbacks too, so
Yeah.
we might
Mm.
discuss on them, like a way to present some characters childhood or past, if you guys enjoyed those, if it was like indifferent. But I am like a little bit surprised that if it's a flashback, like you really want your story to be presented in
It
a
doesn't have to be, right? But it's just you is that just refresh my memory how it finishes the Black Swordsman, the
um
arc.
let me pull it up. I believe
He
that
found the billet in the in
exactly,
the basement with the doctor of
and
the
Exactly.
escapes, and
Exactly.
then
the count. My bad.
kills the count, the person, the leader that was doing witch hunts and executing people.
Yeah. But don't you see a bit of blonde boy there, Griffith?
Yes, as
Yeah,
Femto.
exactly.
Oh yes, yes, in his new form
In his
at the complete
in
end.
his yeah in his Falcon cosplay. So,
The
but you
hawk,
see,
the hawk.
it got it. Look, I'm not gonna say that it was the whole arc was atrocious. It wasn't because the ending got me interested, right?
Yeah, what
And
an ending. We have to talk
and
about
then
it.
they took that shit away from me, and I don't like that. I don't like I don't know. Just I find it's very cucky, you know. Like I don't know how to say it. It's
Get
just like,
cooked.
and it's just like, oh fuck. Now I have to wait. I have to read. I don't know. I didn't know at that time how many chapters. Like I have to read 100 goddamn chapters just to know what the fuck is gonna happen. It's just like, ugh, you know. So,
I see, I see.
but it's just that's why I don't like them. I don't think they're bad as a like literal like you learn a lot, you know, with the flashback. I think the golden age is pretty important, but it's just like they tease you and then they take it away, and I don't know. I found that it was maybe not needed.
Hmm, would you
If they
agree?
would
Not needed, Jackie?
Not needed. I don't know. I mean, maybe you don't need it, but I guess because we talked a bit about it. It's just that sometimes you want to start your story and you want to give something to the audience that is going to be um quote unquote popular. You know what I mean? Something
Hmm.
that is going to get the interest of the the most people out there, so that when they read it, they find it interesting. And I know it's all subjective and all, but like to me, it's like I think Kyle and I we share that is that it wasn't as interesting for us as the golden age. So for us, I don't think it was a good way to catch our interest. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think he
It's
really bet on that
Yeah, but you see, that's
violence
what I think.
and like
Yeah,
that
I think with
carnage, that
yeah, that gore, that violence, that explicit bloody violence. I think it was going for something, so I get it. I'm like, I get what you're doing. And since you warned us and you were like, so it's going to be two arcs, and you had previously told us that like the second arc was like a flashback. It was before the first arc in terms of chronology. So that's
exactly.
why I
Yeah.
think I had a different perspective on the whole thing. But like, of course, you can just. I mean, we could have just not look at the Black Swordsman and just go into the Golden Age, and everything would have made sense. I think we would even been
honestly,
completely
I think I
lost.
would have preferred that. I
Yeah,
think it was I don't know. We'll see there if the Black Story line is irrelevant later on. There, we'll see. I don't know. You know, you
Well, he got the behelit. Something big is gonna happen.
Oh,
This is,
I
yeah.
get it.
You see, this is like this stuff. Like you see the Behelit. You see Griffith in his femto suit. So when like the
I get
first
it,
time
but
I saw
I
Griffith in
found it
his
was
arm, yeah,
exactly. Don't you find it was a bit cheap that you don't get by yourself to see what he looks like, later on? Like in the golden age, I found like there was no surprise for me, right? It was just like, yeah, I know exactly what he's gonna look like.
Oh, I
oh
see
what,
what you mean. Okay.
yeah,
Like,
but you see when I
It's like,
saw him and when I saw the Behelit on his necklace, I was like, okay, I know what's coming, but somehow the way it's presented, I'm interested on how it's going to happen. And I think that's like the most important thing about the way a story is told is that even though you know what's coming, if you're interested in the way it's going to happen, I think it gives you enough interest to keep going.
I get it, but I think that if maybe they wouldn't have shown Griffith in his suit form
Mm.
there, I think I would have maybe enjoyed it better because
like
it was just
put
like,
him in a black cloak or something, like completely shadowed out
yeah,
silhouette,
exactly.
Mm. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe.
mystery. Who is this? Well, he screams his name, so you know.
Yeah, you could have just said that, anyways. But like I'm more just talking a bit about what are my
Yeah. I get it. I totally
but
get it.
it's not a deal breaker, right? I'm not there going like, oh yeah,
It's just funny, right? To see afterwards on the net people saying, "Yeah, this is how you should experience the Berserk story," and they're like, "Yeah, I believe that." People should definitely start with the Golden Age and move on to the Black Swordsman and then move on to the Conviction arc, and then you see things like that. And people would say, no, you probably should only watch the movies or the anime. The 1997 anime is pretty good, but
Yeah, but
uh,
honestly, I believe that people going like you have to watch like this is the chronological way to watch the or to read the manga. I think that's pretty stupid because I don't know when you write a story, when you implement elements in the narrative, you always do it in a precise way. It's not random, you know. You cannot
yeah.
just say, okay, we just look at the story in the in the timeline order, and it's going to be fine. No, there are some hints, and there are some, you know, there are some ways that are used to tell your story that you cannot just alter and switch up the parts to be in a timeline that you like. It doesn't work like that because if you do so, you're going to you're going to lose a lot of the magic that the author was intending on having in his book or his story.
Hmm.
But that like that's my think my that's like my take on it. I just believe that sometimes you see that for some others um pieces of art where people are like, oh, you should watch it this way, you should do it this way. But the truth is that you just watch it the way or read it the way the author intended. That's the best way.
Yeah.
yeah. But I kind of disagree with that. I mean, like I think especially with books and everything and manga and everything when it's long like that, right? Yeah, the
Hmm.
author's vision is important, right? But
Hmm.
if people that have read it and consumed it and everything and said that there's a better way to watching this thing or reading it, like maybe the author just didn't think of that way of presenting it, and if he would have thought about it to present it that way, it would have elevated it and been better.
I mean, I guess you could make a case of it. I would need an example to be honest, because honestly, I think that if the audience is telling you how to tell your story, there's a big problem in your story. If the audience is able to see what you're not able to see in your own story, there's a problem with what you're doing. You have to be master of what you do. What like I would have to see an example of that. I don't know if you have one on the spot, but if not, it's not. It's not. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I'm like, it's possible. I guess it's possible because everyone can make mistakes. So
You
I
would
guess the
have
author
to be
can do
shown
mistakes.
an example.
No,
Well,
yeah,
no,
no,
but
I don't have to. I'm just like I'm interested in seeing an example where that could work.
didn't you tell me that he started this when he was in like college or something like that? You know, like,
I believe, yeah, he did like mock up or something like that. He had it in his mind.
okay. Well, I'm just saying. Let's say Anyways, it's we're talking about semantics here, right? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day there, but I'm just saying, for example, somebody does something and it's like a 20-year, and I think it is like a 30-20 year journey of this guy creating this, right?
So yeah, he wrote 48 pages as prototype in 88, and then the series officially started, and then the first volume came out November 26th, 1990.
There you go. 30 years of stuff. So maybe, you know, if let's say I start writing something, right? And
Mm-hmm.
20 years, it takes me 20 years to 30 years to create that. I'm a different person, right? I got better at writing, better at drawing, better at this, better at that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe what I did when I was younger wasn't as good, and a different way of approaching it is not a bad thing.
I can see it now what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because it's. I always forget that these pieces of art are so long that they can span on. They can be written over a lifetime, like 30
Exactly.
years or
Literally,
Exactly.
so.
yeah.
So yeah, I always forget that because every time I'm like, no, but
Yeah.
like this guy, like maximum 10 years they spend writing their stories. So, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes they don't know
Like
better
I
until
agree with
at the
you.
end.
I agree with you if you do I don't know, a movie and somebody says no, start at halfway and then and then start at the 20-minute mark. Like, no, fuck that. You fucked up there.
No, no, I get it. I get it.
But yeah, if we want to go into some details of the Black Swordsman arc, as you saw, lots of demons and monsters are coming out of anywhere and everywhere for guts, and he bleeds from this cursed mark. And he's that type of character that is alone and that is struggling through this, and it's like his everyday life. He's not scared, he's not he's just doing what he does with a lot of anger. And
Yeah.
we're like, why is he so angry? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I guess.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's what I meant. I think it's that the first arc raises so many questions that are answered in the second arc. So, me, that's why I say that it was a good enough introduction because everything is set up so that when you get to the golden age, you get all your answers. But
Yeah,
well, a lot of the answers.
a lot of them, yeah. So as we saw in the Black Swordsman arc, Kentaro Miura is not afraid of talking about religion, politics, um, witch hunts, what might be the motives of some people, what is good, what is bad. Like when Guts, when Puck, the little fairy, was telling Guts, you have to save this poor dude that's gonna get his head chopped. Like he helped us out, the behemoth. He's the guy that gave it to us and everything. Like why aren't you so? Why are you so cold? Why? And then we can see some like hesitation in him, but he was dead set. He was like, yeah, man, he needs to die. Like that scene was pretty powerful to me. I was like, this guy lived through so much, I really wonder how come you can be like that.
Well, one thing, like, I know maybe I've been saying here and there like stuff that I don't like, but I do actually really like it there. But I don't like that little fairy shit there.
Yeah, Puck.
Yeah, no, not at all. I was like, get this little shit out of my fucking pages.
Yeah, you see, I think Puck was made and shown very early so that people can understand that it's a fantasy world. You know, monsters, fairies. Because when you start the Golden Age arc, you don't even see how it can be like it could be real for all we know, right?
Exactly.
So
And even the characters are not aware that entities else than humans exist.
mhm.
They
Some are like what was his name? Judo in the Golden Age arc. He was the guy that gave Casca that fairy powder that could heal wounds. So so they
I
kind of
guess.
they do know, right? But
Yeah, but like guts or whatever, like he's in the way. Like when the first time he sees the what's his name, Nosferatu there,
yeah, yeah,
he goes like, "What the fuck is that?"
yeah. Zod, Nosferatu Zod.
Yeah, Zoddy boy.
Bruh. So we really want to talk about the Golden Age. Do you have anything like that struck you in the Black Swordsman arc?
No,
You
not
know,
really. I mean,
I think
it's
I think we all prefer to talk about
Let's move
yeah.
on.
the
Let's
more
move on. So yeah, the Golden Age. Oh my God, man! Like the way it starts, it's disgusting outside. The sky is disgusting. Mud everywhere, blood everywhere. People being hung up on trees,
yeah,
and beneath that tree, some mercenaries are passing by and they hear a baby screaming, right? Faint, like not loudly, like very feeble, and the Gambino, the leader of that mercenary group, has a wife, if we can call that a wife, because not to make like an insult, but just to explain that this kind of relationship is not what we usually consider between a real husband and wife. It's quite it's different. So yeah, his wife, that I forgot her name. If you guys have her name on your mind,
Oh man. Man.
she's sick,
so,
right? She's sick mentally, physically, and she goes in that pool of blood and picks up the baby and treats it as her own. And everybody in the group says this is super cursed. Like nothing good will come out of this.
do
Uh,
this.
we should definitely leave that baby to die there. But he's like, you know what? My wife's crazy. It's making her happy. Why not? Let's take it for a while, right? What did you guys think of such an introduction?
Uh, I think it sets the stone. I think it sets the pace, right? You know that you're like, shit. You know, this is not a little TV show. You know, not sorry. I keep saying TV show. It's not a little manga. You know, it's gonna be more heavy themes, and you're gonna see some blood, and you're gonna see some hanging little fucking babies.
Oh, it's gonna be nasty. What did you
Yeah.
think about it, Jackie? I know you're quite the insensitive type of guy, so I'm curious.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, seeing all that horror that we see in Berserk, it didn't really, you know, struck a chord in me. I was watching everything, and it didn't really matter to me. It's not what got me interested. Because
Yeah,
at that point, I was not still interested. I was still not interested. story. I think it came a little bit further into it. But at the start, it just I was like, okay, here we go. We go into the origin story of Guts, and we're going to see his family and everything, and how he was raised up, and how fucked up his childhood was. And I'm going to skip ahead right away because
Like a
I want to
lot,
talk about.
because I was gonna explore
Nah,
like the first few years. The guy, right? He's born from a corpse. He's
yeah.
taken in a group of mercenaries. At 3 years old, his adoptive mother dies in front of his eyes, and he's like uh, accompanying her to her death, like being by her bed. She's bedridden, right? And they're like, "Get away, kid! It's a bad disease that your mom has, so don't get near." And he's like scared. He doesn't understand much, but he understands that she loves him and that he loves her, and he spends those last few moments with her. And then at the age of 6, right, 3 years later again, he's already involved in the war. He's already doing what he can as a mercenary, trying to learn the trade. He killed his first enemy, and yeah, Gambino is trying to not show him the ropes, but at least I don't know, that adoptive father, if we can call it that. Oh my god, it was horrible. Like I have so many bad things to say about this guy. Like, yeah, if you want to skip around one of the worst things he did, I'm
This is
down.
where I was going
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I remember a couple of years back he told me you have to read Berserk because this is one of the saddest childhood stories I've ever read. I was like, all right. And yeah, when I got to that scene where he gets raped by one of the mercenaries,
Donovan,
Donovan. Yeah, there you go.
that
And that no,
ugly motherfucker, man.
but not only was he raped by that guy, but it wasn't actually, it wasn't out of nowhere. Like that guy bought him from his father before going to that tent to rape him.
Gambino
And
sold his adoptive child. Yes.
yeah, and me, I was thinking like at first I was like, oh, this is going like he's going to try to rape him, and then Guts is going to fight it out, and he's going to kill him. But that's not what's happening. He actually rapes him, and I was like, what the fuck, yo? This is horrific. This is horrific to watch because it's very explicit. It's a very explicit manga, and I that's why I just want to ask you that question right away. I just we watched Love, Death, and Robots a
Yeah.
couple of weeks back,
Yeah.
and you were like, oh, it's so explicit. There's too much nudity. There's too much breast here and there. I don't like it and everything. But in this manga, dude, I mean, there are so many scenes of nudity and um savage savage scenes of violence and sex and everything. So I was thinking, how does my dude go from, oh, there's too much of this, to, yeah, you guys gotta read Berserk, man. I'm just wondering.
It's a good question. It is a good question. But it's about the format, right? When you
Mm,
press play, you're stuck watching that shit for however long they want you to watch it. But if I don't wanna, if I wanna like skip around or something, like look quickly with my eyes and go away, I can do that. So, and something else, right?
so,
Something else is that it's not 110% explicit, right? It's not. It's disgusting. It makes you're sure. It makes sure that you understand what's going on, but it's not like, I don't know. I think it's done tastefully. I don't know. It's a matter of how you present it.
man, I don't know. I think to me it's the same. I guess I know what you mean, like, because you don't see the genitals, it's different. But like, to me it's the same, so I don't get why you're upset about one and not the other. But I just wanted to know. I was like,
Yeah,
that
because
seems to
there
me it's the
there
same
are
thing.
scenes, for example, take at one point, there's a wife or something. She's getting, uh, she's having an orgy, and there's like a two big pages of just
Yeah,
completely naked girls.
Black Swordsman arc, the reveal of how the princess's mother died. And she was like,
Exactly.
it must be a lie! It can't be true! And she was forced to watch these horrific images. And I felt it, you see? That's what I'm talking about. I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't know if you guys also reacted the same, but yeah, it really shook me.
Yes, I
Nah,
guess.
I was just like, nudity.
So yeah, man, I mean, we can continue and move on because it's not the only account of very explicit stuff that happens, but it's meaningful. Every time it's meaningful. And just to piggyback off that swordsman arc part, we can see that he loved his wife, he loved his child, but he was so broken, such a broken man. You might call him a weak man, and I think it's a good way to describe it. It's a weakness. Like in principle, this sort of stuff shouldn't push you over the edge and straight up accept the pact of the Behemoth, right? And he fucking slaughtered all of that orgy. I was like, oh my god, bloodbath. It was disgusting. And then he sold his fucking soul because he was so desperate. He was such a broken man. And the only thing he wished for was to continue on living with a little bit more peace of heart. And I was like, bro, this, this, even though it's behind, a egg of the conqueror and fantastical stuff and everything, it all felt so real. That amount of pain, that nature of pain, it all felt very human to me, not cartoon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, so that was just a mention to that scene because it was the best part of the arc, but it had to be built up, right? So, um,
Kind of understand.
yeah. So we move on, right? Guts eventually takes revenge on Donovan, the rapist, the fat fuck, right?
Yeah.
He shoots him with an arrow and calls it a day, man. An arrow? Nah, bro. I think he shot him twice or three times. I think
I
he
don't
shot
even
him
remember that.
twice and then stabbed him or something like that, straight in the mouth with his sword. It was
I don't even
disgusting.
remember that.
Yo, man.
Because,
He waited,
like,
right? They were in a forest. Like the battle ended, and he waited until the troops moved, but they
ah,
stayed
yes.
together.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's how it ended. He was like, "You're a liar, right? Who sold me?" Because Guts
Yeah.
couldn't come to terms that his father sold him, right? That's another thing that he, in his life, that he will have a lot of difficulties coming to term with. It's gonna be afterwards. There is a event in the story where they are raiding as mercenaries do, and Gambino, his adoptive father, loses his legs in an explosion, I believe, something like that. And mercenary without a leg, your career is over. Did you guys feel sad for Gambino?
Because
No.
honestly, like, me when I start, reading the Golden Age, I wasn't really into the story yet. I was like, okay, this is just we're. I was still thinking that we were in a backstory. So I was just like I was very in the backstory vibe, just like, okay, this is information. They're just this is not there's no development right now. I'm just being fed information, so I'm just going through it. I'm like, I mean, it was horrible, the rape scene, but afterwards I was like, okay, he's going to get revenge. I was starting to see where it was going, and to me, like the story picks up really when he meets Griffith and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the
The
Ox,
band of
the
the
band
Hog.
of Arcs. Yeah,
Well, yeah, essentially, right? Guts is trying his best to become a good mercenary, master the sword, get prizes for killing generals and all, and get the approval of his father, which is so humane, right? You can imagine for a guy like him searching for approval, right? The only person that loved him died when he was 3. So yeah, man, it's kind of tough living a life without love. And he comes to a point where not only it doesn't work, whatever he tries, it's not enough for Gambino, but he wakes up during the night and his adoptive father tries to kill him. What a scene. And then he was so shook, right? He couldn't understand. And then he told him some words that will resonate with him for the rest of his life. He told him, "You should have died 11 years ago underneath your mother's corpse. And everything that happened bad is because of you." Like everything, the fact he lost his leg, the fact he lost his wife, everything bad that happened came since his arrival, and he's the person who killed uh, the everyone that was near and dear to them. And imagine being a child, bro, and being told that shit. My man, he was so distraught, and as the guy was trying to kill him, he accidentally killed his adoptive father, and that will scar him for life. That was like to me. You said it was just info, but I would like to know what you guys thoughts, your thoughts about that whole thing when he
I think
finally
I
takes his life, right, and runs away afterwards.
yeah, I think like what Jackie said, that it was just like I was still not fully invested. Maybe if I reread it now, but it was just like again, I was just again like a flashback with a kid story, right? Okay, they're gonna tell us why he acts a certain way, and you're reading and you're like, okay, so you don't really pay attention as much, I
Ah,
think,
since
especially
it's
in the
my not my first read, right? Some scenes like when he got shot and fell, and then he fought the wolves off. The types of dialogue that was going through, monologue rather, and the initial, like, he was okay with dying. He was like, I'm fine with it ending here. No more trouble for me, right? But then, as he killed the first wolf, almost accidentally, he felt that urge to survive, that urge to struggle, to keep on living, however how hard it is, and that sadness transformed into anger against this very difficult life of misery and awful circumstances. And once you go back, right, the whole story, and you go back and read that, you're like, shit, man, it was there, right? It was there. And I think you guys can see it now, too.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely not, but I think I'm still gonna have to give it another read. Well, if ever I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah, it's gonna take a couple of months, years, because, I don't reread it like super religiously or anything, but it was a good refresher for me. It's been like
exactly.
3 years, I think, since I've read a chapter of Berserk.
Yeah, so it's just that, like Kyle said, we're not that invested in the story at that point, and since it was pretty, classical. By that I mean that it's a classic horror childhood story of why a character is traumatized by events from his past. So I don't. At that point, I wasn't, feeling the whole story enough so that this scene would leave a mark
Yeah,
on me.
yeah. Because once you read it, you know what kind of
Yeah,
ideological struggles will happen and all, and conflicts. So you're like, yeah, I would like to know
exactly.
how
So
that all came about. But let's move on, man. It's like right here, he finally meets the band of the Hawks, and they fucking attack him, bro. They want to steal his shit, and
But
if they
did you know apparently it was a mistranslation?
is it.
Yeah, it's actually supposed to be the bands of Falcon, not Hawks.
Oh,
Ah.
wait a second. I have a deja vu feeling. I'm like, bro, did we already talk about that? Did you already mention it? I feel like I've seen this in another life or something. This exact moment that we're sharing right now.
Mm, no, because I haven't seen Berserk before last week, so.
What is going on?
But I think I I do have a recollection of something that we watched or whatever, and I had said maybe I don't know. We'd have to rewatch every single episode.
Okay. So yeah, they attack him, right? And they misjudge how good Guts is at fighting. That's all he ever did. He lives by the sword, and they didn't know. They thought it was easy money. Seems young, seems not feeble, but not experienced. And then Griffith is like, "Yeah, man, do whatever you want. If you want to go, Casca, go." And then Casca goes.
Mm,
First
yeah.
introduction to the character. A woman
Well,
in the band of the Hawk. The only
yeah,
one.
yeah. Well, I I I didn't have many opinions on her there. I didn't. I'd say that I didn't particularly like her in the beginning. I found she was whiny, and to this day, like most of the characters, I understand. You know,
Yeah.
their whininess or whatever. Her, I have a lot harder time for her motivations and stuff. There, she's a good character, but it's like I'm not overly fond of her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. What is not to be appreciated in the beautiful Casca?
But although I liked her when she mellowed out later
Okay,
on,
okay, I see. Yeah,
I
she
think
was a
it's
little
just,
bit crazy.
mm, but it's just even when you learn why she acts that way, you're still like, ugh, like okay, I
Yeah,
don't know how
yeah,
to
yeah.
explain.
Some character types, let's say, or personality types, are don't jive with us at the same way that they might jive with some other people. But yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Absolutely.
I don't know when Jackie will be able to bounce into this like this scene, right, where Guts manages to overpower everybody and Casca, and then Griffith comes through.
yeah. Um, since you warned us about Griffin and he was like, I've never seen a character like that and everything. I was keeping an eye out for him. So when I saw him, I was like, okay, well, this is it. So who are you, Griffith? And at first, I wasn't interested, but as the story kept going, it got me more and more interested. Um, Casca, I found her. I mean, it was a normal character development. At first, you don't like her because she's, as Kyle said, a bit whiny, and she's, you know, she's trying to go against Guts because he's gaining more and more um, love from Griffith, and it's not only love, it's admiration, I think, and respect.
Yes.
Even though further in the story he's like, well, they're not really my friends and everything. Griffith, I mean, when he says that, I think he has a lot of respect for Guts because he almost sees him as his equal. So there's a
Yeah.
difference of relationship, and since Casca, beside Griffith, is the best fighter in the gang. When there's a new great fighter that comes along, well, it kind of challenges her territory. And since she's so, it's not love. It's more than that. It's like they say in the manga. It's adoration for Griffith he sees that when she sees that his interest is now towards Guts.
Yep.
I think it's normal that she feels threatened. You know.
Yeah, yeah. They usually say the word that Casca worships Griffith. It's religious almost.
Yeah, it reminds me it reminds me of the affection and the love that Mikasa has for Eren in Attack on Titan. You know, that kind of, oh, he saved my life, so now I owe him my life, and I see that he's a great man because he saved me and everything. It's that kind of relationship, but even
Yeah,
more
it's a good
intense.
parallel. Yeah.
Yeah, so she would do anything for him and everything. Um, yeah, so I guess it it didn't bother me the way she was at the start. I was like, it's normal. It's the way things are, and I just like the dynamic because you know what's happening is that at this moment, all the lights are on Griffith, which is such a special character that you don't really think about all that other stuff. You know, it's there, but it's not as important as what is Griffith? What is he thinking? How is he acting? What is his goal? What is his famous dream and everything? I think that's the most important part of the whole Golden Age arc.
Yep. And how does it mix with everything else, right? Because it's not a, like we say there are dreams that are less ambitious than others. I don't think this is an ambitious dream. I think this is completely crazy, right? This is the type of dream that most people would say is nonsense, delirious, right? He wants a kingdom, and he's a commoner. He wants a kingdom, and he's a commoner. We live in a they live in a world where that shit, not only it's unthinkable, but you don't even see how it could be or how, but he believes in it so much and backs it up so well that it attracts everybody around him. That troop of young fighters that are unbeaten, that they have a streak. they 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 don't lose. They just don't lose. They're all around Griffith, and they are ready to die for him. They are ready to die for his dream, even though they all have theirs. But what is their dream in comparison to the promise of what Griffith will be able to bring, right? I think it was absolutely amazing, and I really, really loved the scene where Griffith makes a pact with Guts, and he tells him, right, that the reason why he didn't kill him was because he wants him. And then Guts says, "You homo, bro?" He doesn't even answer, bro. He's like, "Yeah, so 4 days ago we were at a siege. The siege was unbreakable, and a little guy came through and fucked shit up. And he beat the general, and I was super impressed. Who was that little guy? It was you. And I believe that it was not a fluke, and I believe in your talent, and I want you in my army." But
One
Guts,
question for you guys.
yeah, yeah.
As a character, do you like Griffith?
Oh, we were too soon, man. We're too soon. I
I
think.
mean, we can answer to that.
Yo, go ahead. So, if you had to do you think there is a merit in the people that say, "Are you in on Guts' side or on Griffith's side?" Do you think it's a matter of sides?
I don't think so. I didn't even think about that. I don't think there are sides in this
I
story.
don't think there's a sign.
Okay, now let's move on. Do you think that um, Griffith, because that's what's mostly said, is morally reprehensible?
I
Like
I do think he is. Yeah, I do think he is.
devoid, like the people say that he is devoid of morality.
Well, a bit, I think, because since he's, very selfish and everything, and that, his goal is basically him becoming, the king, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get there. I think that's. I'll just answer Kyle like because it's just going to you're going to figure it out while listening to me. But I really
Exactly.
like Griffith as a character. I really like him because I think you're right when you say that there's not a lot of characters like him, if not if ever like if I've ever seen a character like him. But it's just fascinating to see him, be willing to do everything it takes to just get um just get the shit done, and get to the goal. The end goal is to have the kingdom, and if he has to get money, he's willing to sleep with that baron at one point in the story, and he doesn't even seem to care. He's just like, I'm going to lose my men, and it's not about I like the men in my army of mercenaries. It's not about that. It's that it's not going to be efficient. So he has a very rational but coldly rational way of thinking,
Yeah,
and that's fascinating. But I think he's
but you
morally
saw, right? You can't say he doesn't care. He was scarred when he was
no.
taking his bath and Casca came through. That self mutilation was not the yo man. I am such a stoic dude, man. I nothing gets to me. Nah, b,
Exactly.
nah,
He's
b.
emotional because he's a human being, but the way he acts, I think people are right when they say that he's morally reprehensible because he he thinks of people as tools, and I
And yeah,
think he cares.
more than that. Remember, every time they were like, Griffith is scary, cause at
Mhm.
one moment he can give you that stare that will shake you to your core, but in the other, he will give you that most innocent, childlike smile and behavior. And we managed to understand that this character, I don't know if you guys can hear the echo, right? Uh, I'm gonna stop talking, right? So you guys might I'll try to figure it out. Maybe you're on speaker or something.
I'm not on speaker, so I don't know where it's coming
No,
from.
I'm not on speaker also.
Cause yeah, I'm picking it up.
It's your echo.
Yeah,
That's weird
but
because I don't
now
hear
it's
anything.
good.
Now it's good. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, just as I was saying, right? The character is very special because he had to he had to change in very specific ways to get to that dream. Like
Hmm.
he every sacrifice that he could do that was in the realm of possibility, he did. And that was I think that's what you are talking about.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to care, but he's only thinking about his goal. And I mean, every time a character goes like, people are just tools to me. When he's at the party with the princess, and he's like, oh, they're not really my friends, and I don't really respect them and everything. I was like, I can't be on board with that.
But it's not true.
Yeah, I mean it. I don't know if it's true or not.
It's not true because we saw him on many occasions where he deeply cared about his comrades. And
But it's more about the reason why he cares. Is he caring because he actually is concerned about their well-being, or does he care because he's like, I'm going to lose some resources that are helping me build my kingdom?
no. It's if you remember, that's why the Black Swordsman arc is so important. When the count, or I don't know how we can call him,
Yeah, the
activates
count.
the behemoth, and he's
Hmm.
like, and the God Hand appears before him, and the God Hand asks for a sacrifice, and he's like, there's the sacrifice, that motherfucker that put me into that bad shape, the Black Swordsman, right? Guts. They're
Hmm.
like, you cannot sacrifice someone that you don't love, right? Or you don't like. There was a specific wording like
Yeah.
flesh and something like that, right? Something like blood, and the only possibility was his daughter, and he couldn't. And once you activate the behemoth and you don't sacrifice, it's your soul that goes to hell for eternity. So
Hmm.
yeah, he couldn't bring himself to sacrifice his daughter. But back to Griffith, the people that died on the eclipse. Spoiler alert. Uh, if it worked, if they got sacrificed, it's because he deeply cares about them. It's not a matter of. It's like, how do we say, semantics. Friends, not friends, must be equal. But in the end, he loves them. He cares for them.
Yeah, but
He,
in the way you care for a tool, like the way you care for your cell phone. Yes.
I don't know. It seems to be way more than that. Remember that child?
Maybe.
That child they
Maybe.
rescued, right? That was so fucking disgusting. The guy that had child, not prostitutes, but sex slaves.
Mm-hmm.
One of them got saved and joined the band of the Hawk, and he died on the battlefield with a toy in his hand, if you remember.
Yes, yes, yes. The
Do,
dull soldier.
do you think he was hypocritical when he was talking about the poor soul that was lost?
Yeah, maybe not that one. I can agree for that one. Maybe not. Maybe he cared a little bit, but maybe because it was a child.
To me, Griffith, maybe like it's not. That's the beauty of Berserk, right? But and the character, but he really loved his troop. The band of the Hawk meant so much to him, and that's why uh, all of them were needed to be sacrificed, right? For his dream to be. We're so far ahead, bro. I don't want to talk about it yet because that scene is amazing. It builds up on so many great moments. But yeah, do you guys have something else to talk like the grind that the band of the Hawk had to do, the ties that were forged, the little steps, the little victories, and then the separation, of course. Like we have so many things to talk about.
No, not
It's
no,
No, like okay,
no.
okay,
I think
okay.
we can continue there.
So there comes a moment where I said in the beginning they make sure that everything is settled by the sword and do a duel. Whoever wins, Griffith wins Guts, and Guts would. I forgot what he said that he would win, but uh, I forgot. But yeah, in short, they fight, and very cool action scene. I know Jackie doesn't like action, but Griffith wins in a very
oh yeah,
dominant
but
fashion.
that's at the start, like the first time when they meet.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it means so much, right? For Guts, who lives by the sword, and that's all he knows. That's all he does. To be bested by someone like Griffith, and what a manner, right? It was completely crazy. My favorite part was when Griffith jumped on Guts' sword to evade, and then points his blade towards Guts' throat, and he's like, "That's it, Griffith won." Everyone was like, "Yo, it's over." And then Guts bites the fucking blade and, and pushes him off his sword, and then it like transforms into a fist fight, right? What
Hmm.
did you guys like? I don't know how to say it, but it says so much about the two, right? I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Like those little things, I think those are the beautiful things. Also, like there is a lot of moments with text, with everything, but even action scenes can offer something amazing, right? Like the different looks that they give each other, the way they are drawn, right? Like you know the Griffith look, those eyes, those piercing eyes.
Mm.
They say so much. Like they're so
Huh.
creepy, man. Like you know, we have to talk about so many things. Like you guys are ready to talk about the eclipse. I wanted to talk about the ball. I wanted to talk about the queen assassination. I wanted to talk about how he uses guts and mainly guts to keep his hands clean. Right, he does the dirty work. That time he killed the heir of the throne, and then the little kid saw him and he couldn't take a chance, so he blindly struck him
Yeah,
down,
kill them. Yeah.
and he was like, oh no, buddy, hey buddy. And then he's like, bro, man, I fucking killed him. It was, yeah, a hard hitting scene to me. But yeah, yeah, go ahead, man, just talk
No,
me
no.
through your
I think,
appreciation.
I think, I think it's just for me. I think it took a bit of time for me to really get into it. So, like, even now, I think that the beginning is weak. I know they're setting up pieces and introducing him and whatnot, right? Really setting everything up, showing why some characters are like some characters are. But for me, I think it's exactly what you said there. I think it's a part when I really hooked on was when uh, they're at the palace
Mm-hmm.
and he they want to assassinate that dude there, Griffith, and everything. And I think it's then that it really started to pique my curiosity. So the thing is, what I like about Berserk is that it's a manga, right? But it's not very manga-ish on a lot of aspects, right?
Yeah.
I find sometimes me growing and getting older, I find a lot of times dialogue and sh- anime and fucking mangas could be so goddamn cringy, right?
the
A lot
the
of times,
Japanese cringe.
exactly. And when we got there, I'll tell you, there's one thing that to this day I still find cringe in Berserk, and I'll let you guys know there. And I have a hard time getting over it, but I was still. That's when it piqued my curiosity because you're like, ooh, there's intrigue going on right now, right? There's like political plays, and there's like, and it's not in that cringy way. So that's when I hooked on. So everything beforehand, I read it all, but it didn't. For me, it was just like, okay, like, and especially when you go into this, Berserk is known to be top one, top five, top 20 mangas of all time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you go into it, I find I wasn't amazed first. I was fully expected to come here with you and saying, no, sorry, I don't like it. But that's not the case. I actually really hooked on, and that was the moment where I hooked on, where it started getting interesting and it started getting political, it started getting, and all of that made it that's when I hooked on. That's when I found I started giving a shit about the story and really liking it.
I think you said everything, man. Like,
Yeah, and if you want to know, because my question before resulted in that, the cringiest thing there for me is Griffith. For whatever reason, I find him so goddamn fucking cringy. It's just I like some aspects of the story with him, like
yeah, yeah,
when you see him with the how you call it, when he like prostitutes himself for the king or the lord or whatever.
yeah. The
I
Baron.
love that because it showed more to him, right? But I find for whatever reason he seems so fucking empty to me. It's just I don't find him. I don't like him at all. he reminds me so much of cringy anime like characters
Yeah, yeah.
that I don't like him. But at the end, he started getting interesting, right? That's when he started piquing my curiosity. I still
So
don't really like,
when he got tortured and lost his tongue, that's when he got interesting.
but no, but it is because he's so important and they fucking tortured him and all of that and
It's
like,
the end. You saw the shambles,
but
his body, what it looked like.
yeah, and that's why I'm so excited to go into the next chapter because I'm excited that all the places have been placed, right? I have most of the information. Now, you may be laughing and saying, no, no, you don't have it, but in my mind,
No, no, you're
I have
good.
most I have most of the information. I know how the world works. I know how the laws works. I know the characters, like the main ones, and all of that. But it again, like I said, it's just that little. I find since day one, I found him cringy. So
I absolutely love the character. The more I reread through, I think Griffith is like top. I don't know, fictional characters. Like he's up there, right? Like
yeah. See, I really like Guts. I find I like him. I like
yes, of course, Guts, man.
it's just I
How
don't know.
can you not like when the Skull Knight comes and he calls him the Struggler? Oh boy.
But exactly, and the other guy, I don't know. Maybe it's the way he looks, right? I don't like the way he looks. I
He's
find
godlike. He's like an angel. He's like
exactly. I find him so like I would see somebody like that in real life and act like that, and it's just like, you're so full of yourself. Get over yourself, like,
yeah, yeah.
and but I don't think it's a bad thing that I don't like him, right? I really don't. I think it's actually a strength of Berserk, right? Because, well, look, again, I don't know the rest of the story, so I can't speculate, but from what I guess, he's an antagonist, right? He's an antagonist that was friends with but since day one, maybe because you knew he was a villain or whatever, but there's always that little shit that irked me, like the phrases he used and
Yeah.
everything. It's just like, ugh, I don't like you as a human being. I don't like you, like, and I think, hats off to the writer. If he makes me find this guy scummy.
It worked, definitely. It worked. And I just fell into one of my favorite scenes from the Golden Age was after an important battle. They have the festivities, welcoming party for gods, and the next morning we have fully naked, what's his name, Griffith, taking a shower, and he's like, yeah, come freshen up. And then they start like throwing water and shit like that. It's very like, it's so pure. It's so pure in such a cruel world. And then he's like, Guts, join me. That's just a mere step. The Hawk soldiers are victories on the battlefield. They're just the outset, just the
Mm.
beginning. Things will get interesting after that. So interesting it will be worth risking our lives. I will take hold of my own country. Fight on my behalf. From now on, you belong to me. I will be the one who decide your place of death. And I was like, yo, yo, I don't know, man.
You see, I hear that, and I hear I'm gonna be the Hokage. You know what I mean? It's just like it's it's just like, oh, okay, again, these characters with these fucking, like the. Anyways, like I said, I think I'm super interested to see what's gonna happen next. For real, uh, since that moment where it got political and it got intriguing and all of that is when I hopped in and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm interested, I'm invested, and I want to see where this goes. But before that, I found it was weak. I know I know it's placing parts and everything, but anyways. But like I said, I'm excited.
For you, it got exciting since the plans, the coup, the assassination, romancing the princess in order to marry into royalty, right?
Yeah,
That was the thing that
because
clicked.
beforehand, I found it was just like it was a lot of Guts goes here. He has to defeat an army. There's always a big dude with a big armor. He has to kill him. You have Griffith being a bit weird and whatnot. But then when it got there, it changed, and that's what I liked because I saw something different. Right?
Just
I
like,
saw something new, something
yeah,
going like, oh, okay, this is not just gonna be a
sword fighting, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because I was scared of that, like there's a lot of fighting in it, and I do love fighting, but I was like, is this gonna be just a manga of this? And I'm glad that it's not. I'm glad there's actually a story behind all of it.
Yes, and a very good one at that to me, right? Uh, I want to read out the end dialogue from Guts and Griffith versus Zod, Nosferatu Zod, the first like big demon that's like a problem to Guts, because if you remember well, nothing is really a problem in terms of kicking the shit out of for Guts and Griffith. They're so above everybody else, but then they come across that creature, and then like it goes to shit, right? Lots of a bloodbath and everything, but then the fight suddenly ends when he sees Griffith with the behemoth, right? And I believe that's when I got in my first read through. That's when I was like, "Yo, I need to see the end of this." Because that comes after the speech I read from Griffith, right? Zod says, "Our fight today will stop for now, but I'm not sure I'll be seeing you again. So I'll give you a warning. No, a prophecy. If you call yourself a true friend of that man, be prepared, for when this man's dream comes crashing down, you will face your death, a death you can't escape." The drawing is superb, the dialogue is just mysterious enough and harkens back to the behemoth that's been hyped up for a couple of chapters now. And yeah, man, I don't know. What did you think of it, Jackie?
Um, I mean, when they meet Nosferatu Zod, at first I was like, he's going to, he's going to be like before. Guts is going to kick his ass, but when he turns out, he gets bigger and bigger, and turns out into like this creature from Greek mythology. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great challenge. And I don't know, you just read that part from the dialogue, and it doesn't ring a bell to me. I don't know why, but it didn't really leave a mark on me. But I guess it's maybe it's important for later. But the first time I read it, it wasn't like a big part of the story to me. I think the whole political um plot with the royal family and the relationship between Casca and Guts
And Griffith,
was
that unfortunate triangle.
well,
Because
yeah, you
we
can,
have to talk about it, right? So we have Casca that
yeah,
worships Griffith, and then we
yes,
have Griffith that wants Guts. Guts
hmm,
could have made it so easy, bro, if he just wanted Griffith back. But it wasn't the case. He went with Casca. I swear to God, man, some stories, man, they're trying to make it
yeah,
complicated.
no, but it's not a classic love triangle because Casca, the way she worships, um, the way she worships Griffith is not in a romantic way,
You know,
you
I'm
know.
twisting the definition of these words to make it like that, But continue.
And
Yeah, it's a good
and
explanation.
Griffith. I mean, Griffith. Of course, he wants guts, but it's not for his looks. It's not for a relationship. It's for his skills in fighting. So it's not what you would call a classic love triangle, but actually Casca and Guts are interested in each other, and I love the way the relationship develops over time. I think it's well done. Um, it's it's an interesting relationship.
Yeah, would
Because
you have
at first,
seen it at first happening?
yeah, because they hate each other at the start, and
It's
we know
bad.
that.
She tells him you should have died, like
Yeah, well, that's
straight
the
up.
start. Well, that's the start of every good relationship, I guess. When people hate each other, I think it's a good point to start.
Oh
So yeah, I
no,
think
you actually made a callback to IRL?
no, I didn't make a call back to our. I'm just saying that sometimes you know,
Incredible, incredible.
I mean, love doesn't come from the places you expect sometimes.
Mm-hmm,
That's what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying.
And hatred is a
In real
very
life, for
powerful
example.
emotion.
Yeah, so I mean, they have similar interests in fighting. They are skillful warriors, and you know, I think they were made for each other. And I love that, like, one of the mercenaries teases them about
Yeah,
the
Judo, man, what a guy.
judo. Yeah,
Fucking hell, man. When we talk about the eclipse, oh my god. I don't know if you guys came to enjoy some of the side characters, but fuck, man, it was horrible for me. I hated it.
yeah. Well, there was that one. I like. What is tough for me is the names,
Yeah, we
because there
had
were
the
a lot of
big
them.
strong dude, Pippin, right?
Yeah, I think it was this one. I really like the one that goes. I hated you so much, Guts. I've never hated it. It was never like a secret that I hate you. And sometimes when we were on the battlefield, I was trying to shoot some arrows at you.
Yes, it was so good. I love
That I
that
found very
dialogue.
funny. I like this relationship of, oh, I respect you and you saved our lives, and but at the same time I fucking hate your guts. I think it was interesting also. I think it gave the whole group a great dynamic, so that when we arrived at the eclipse, you were actually sad that everybody fucking dies.
One thing that I want to talk before then is the scene where it's at night. There are lots of
Mhm.
campfires in the main camp, and
Mhm.
Guts is up in the hill, and he's joined by Casca. And they start talking about how those flames kind of represent each and everyone's individual dream,
Yes,
and
yes.
how Griffith is
It's
the
like the big
one
flame.
exactly making
Hmm.
everything converge, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the most beautiful thing about that scene, because he starts talking about him, right? That he doesn't really have a direction in life, a goal, a dream per se, right? He just tries to stay alive. That's all he does. That's all he's been doing, right? Fighting and trying to stay alive. And he not lamenting, but like I don't know, contemplating everything. And
Yeah, it just feels bad a bit.
the hill, bro, it doesn't have a flame, and I loved it. Like you see those little details. I'm like,
Hmm.
he did it. He made sure to not put a torch or something, right? He's in the dark. He doesn't have that campfire. Guts is not like the others on that point.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I don't know. And then, of course, you're like, yeah, what does it? I don't know if you said that, but what do we care for, right? It's just a scene to make people sad or think or. But
I didn't say that, but yeah, go ahead.
but then, but then, he's like, you know what? I heard you talk smack about us, that we are not ambitious, that we're following your dream, and we don't deserve to be called your friends. So you know what? I want to stand beside you. I don't want to be behind you anymore. So I am going
Hmm.
to go ahead and disband from the Band of the Hawk. What did you
Yeah,
think? Do you think it was a natural progression? Do you think it was
yeah,
well done?
yeah. I think it was very well done. I think it's one of my favorite scenes of the whole arc, and that you can really see the character development from the little guy that didn't know really his way, but from the moment that Griffith talked about it, you know, his dream and the way he was seeing his comrades, not really as friends and everything. I think it gives a great lessons on, you have to follow your own dreams in life. You have to set your own goals and not live through somebody else's story. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that scene, and I really like the duel that you know follows it, where Griffith is like, "Well, you have to win. You have to win, otherwise you're still mine. You belong to me." And
Just like it all started. I was
yeah,
very
just
pleased to
just like
see
at
it.
the beginning. And that time he wins, and I don't know. I really enjoyed the fact that he won. I found it very satisfying, and it
Remember
it.
the details in his both characters' thoughts. Some of
Mhm,
the details, Griffith was like, you know what? According to my calculations, um, I might strike in a way where with Guts's sword swing, it might like shift my blade a little bit too much, and I hit him square on the head and kill him. And what does he say afterwards? It's better for him to die than for me not to have him.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about being real friends and all. He doesn't really care about the well-being and Guts' his own goal. He's just thinking about his and his dream and his kingdom and everything. So that's why I'm always on the side of him being morally reprehensible. But
Because
anyway,
Kyle, I know he'll be right back, right? But Kyle said that Griffith is the antagonist, right? And
hmm
he even said that Griffith
oh well,
is a villain.
he said he might eventually become a villain or an antagonist because at this point he's you know
My man is trying to make. Oh no, you don't know that yet, but you know he's trying to get a kingdom, right? That's the dream.
yeah, yeah.
But the more you read, the more you realize that he might be the hero of the story, actually.
Well, I hope not. For the sake of the story, I hope not. But anyway, I think
Like
when
if you
Guts
really twist your logic, right? You're like, yo, you know what? That might be a good thing. That might be the hero of the story, actually.
yeah, I guess you can always change your point of view when it comes to choosing the main character and the hero of the story.
Yeah, just to finish right on that duel. Uh, what did you think of the drawings? That two
I mean,
pager.
I think we can go straight ahead and talk about the drawings of the whole manga. I think it's very impressive. It's one of the most beautiful mangas I've ever seen, if not the most beautiful, because I think there are some images in this manga, especially at the beginning of chapters where it really goes in
Yeah,
terms of details and shadows and everything. I think it's maybe the most impressive drawings I've seen in my whole life in mangas and in general like graphic novels and you know books as such. It's
you're
it's
like,
so
bro.
detailed, and it gives the perfect atmosphere in terms not only in terms of characters but in terms of environments. It just gives the perfect atmosphere, and it just sets the tone perfectly for what the story is about. and how dramatic and dark it is.
And you know he
It's
has to draw not one, not two, but like I don't know how many back to back. It's not like a painting, right? Where you do
no,
one. The guy is insane. The
yeah, no, it's
rest
it
in peace,
must
Kentaro
take a
Miura,
good.
but
Yeah, all
we
praise
lost
to
a
him,
great
cause
one, man.
oh yeah, I agree with that, cause it's some very impressive artwork. Very impressive.
Did you
It's
see
it's really unique.
that every like you said, the more regular scenes where it's the politics, the banquet, the ball, things like that, or when Griffith ruins his dream because he's so sad of losing guts that he makes the biggest mistake of his life. The way it's drawn, and then you switch to the way he draws the demons and the eclipse. I don't know for you guys, but some of those images I could put in a museum and be confident that connoisseurs would be wowed completely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's beautiful artwork from from the start till finish.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was talking about the two pager, Guts and Griffith. The sun is there, the mountains, the trees. The It was just beautiful, man. I was like, oh, I can feel the pressure of this duel, and I can
Oh, okay,
feel,
okay, yes, yeah.
and I can feel how calm Guts is, and how angry Griffith is that he's defying him, right? He should be
Mhm.
his. He shouldn't have that free will. Curse him. But you know, it was absolutely amazing. I don't know. Most two pagers, like every two pager in Berserk, is like if you had to rate it like 10, 10, bro. It's so good. And some shots, right, of the castles seen from the sky and all. You're like, bro, my man draws better than architects. He is straight up the goat. I don't know, man. He's too good.
Yeah.
Um, I think Kyle came back.
Yes, I am.
Good. The drawings. What did you think?
Beginning, I found they were bad. Well, not bad. No. Well, I'm gonna take that back. I found that he hadn't gotten into his groove, into his style. I don't think. I think he's maybe just developing it or whatever. I
Yeah.
think you evolve through time. I also thought that the beginning sometimes the faces were a bit weird, but then at one point I can't tell you when there. I think it was gradual, but it just holy shit. Like there was some pages, some that are just gorgeous, like hell, I'm looking at right now your the stream and just looking I like that he uses dark the white and the black in his drawing so well.
Yeah.
It's not just like a lot of times I think mangas like I don't want them to be, but they look like uh color needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't need no color, right? He uses that black and that shading so well there that I find that is honestly beautiful.
And you can like feel the texture almost.
Mm.
You're like, yeah, this is fur, this is hair, this is smooth cloth, this is hard metal. Like you're like, bro, what
Uh,
is this? Jackie, he told me an example. One that struck him was the lighting on the ground. If you want to detail that.
Yeah, in one of the scenes in the basement of the castle, you can see that well, first you can see that all the stones or drawn individually, but the lighting on the stones, it gives you the impression that it's just by looking at it, you're able to recognize the texture of the stone and what kind of stone it is and what they were going for. And that is impressive to me because usually what they would do in mangas or drawings in general, they're just going to draw some squares, and it's going to look like a set of stones, but you're not going to feel the whole texture. See what I mean? Because of
Yeah,
the lighting of the fire and the flames reflecting on the stones and the way they're shining, you can see that they're polished stones. And I don't know, it's really amazing the way everything is drawn in that manga, especially the environment.
you're like, can he not draw something? Trees, beast. Snow, beast. Ground, grass. Uh, Muscles, the anatomy. Holy crap, man! It's
The only
amazing.
thing though that I find sometimes, not all, and again, there's so many little drawings, right? So of course some of them are gonna be a bit. I find his faces sometimes they're a bit weird, but like I said, that was more towards the beginning. But the later I got, the I found the nice the faces got much better.
Yeah, I think that you will even enjoy more when you read because his art continually evolves, and there is a noticeable change coming up. And some people would say that they prefer the Golden Age style. I don't know if it's the majority, but there is something to be taken like positively from every arcs. But I think you will enjoy even more what's coming up next.
I'm excited.
Um, yeah, so we talked about most things. Maybe like insist that this is a manga not for the faint of heart, because not only there is lots of blood, lots of killing, lots of torture, even, but even more than that, there is a lot of sexual violence. Like we said in the beginning, rapes happen often, uh, and it's very graphic sometimes. And yeah, if you guys like, I can totally understand it, man. Like, I don't want to look at that, but like I said, it's done in a way where I don't know. It's censored in the right ways, and it just transmits the emotion, the disgusting, the filthy. Like it does its job well. So even like I wouldn't say a Puritan like me, but you see what I mean. Like I'm kind of, I look at it like quickly like that. I get it, and we move. But if you want to stay and look, well, he draws it well too. He's not like someone that will miss. Like he never miss. He just never misses. It's crazy. What did you think about? Oh yeah, the most important scene. What did you think after Guts won his freedom? The fact that Griffith in Heavy Rain comes into the quarters, the private quarters of the princess, and does what he did.
I mean,
It
it was
was
consensual,
yeah.
which is a change, but
Yeah,
it
it's a positive thing, right? In this
yeah,
universe.
yeah. I mean, I mean, he was going for the princess. We knew it, and she liked him. So yeah,
No, no,
that's where
you
he's.
saw the. If you look closely at the drawings, right, and the expressions, Griffith was not normal. Like the and I don't know. he communicates well enough emotions through his drawings, but I didn't feel like it was very loving. I think it, I'll let you guys give me your thoughts, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was very innocent. I think he
I
was
think
down
he
bad for real, and he felt a need to feel superior or empowered or dominant, right? He felt emasculated by Guts. To me, that's how I felt it was.
yeah, yeah, could be. I think I liked it. Like I said, I think it's it's really at the moment that you know I've been enjoying the whole the whole manga that's in the middle of it, and I think it what I liked about it was it's like he's not this perfect guy anymore, right? That does perfect things. Like ultimately,
He
he shouldn't
cracked.
have done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, and I liked it because it added something different to it. You know?
And like the king told him, I thought you were like a smart, cunning, strategist, warrior, leader of the Band of the Hawk, climbing all the ranks and doing shit like nobody ever did. And here you are, being so fucking dumb and ruining your dream like that. Enjoy the torture. Bye. And then he goes to do one of the most disgusting. I bet Jackie loved it. Do you guys remember that part where the king goes and what he does?
I was fine with it.
I was fine with it. Okay.
I mean, he really loves his daughter,
He loves it. He loves
just
her a
like the
lot.
count, but even more.
Even more.
No,
And
I
it
mean, it was
was
disgusting as always.
so
Those scenes are.
explicit, man. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't comfortable with those scenes, but they are what they are. It takes a lot to it takes a lot. Whoa, whoa! It takes a lot to shock me anyway. So I was looking at it, was like, well, I hope he die very soon.
you
But
saw how it was very nasty, but she was kicking him in the face and he started like
yeah,
bleeding and all. And I found
yeah,
all those details very enjoyable. In the blood in his face and all. I was like, yes.
hmm
But
yeah,
all of that brings us to pre-eclipse, but very soon, right? Where my man Griffith is in a dungeon being savagely tortured by some. What do you call it, man? Is that a human being? Like the
what?
torsionary, the little
Yeah,
gremlin,
I
or I
think.
don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it
Bro,
is.
that was not a pretty view. But essentially, the king told him, "You do anything you want, except killing him. He needs to suffer, like for a while, for at least a year or something like that." And yeah, man, he does his job very well. He cuts his tongue. He has no more skin on his back. No more. It's a given, right? No more nails. Uh,
No more tongue.
no more. Yeah, we said that. Like he completely destroyed his beautiful body, right? That was radiating on all those scenes where he was shirtless and it became like a skeleton and
Yeah.
really bad. No muscle mass, very sick, to the verge of death. And when they came to rescue him, right, Guts like rejoins the Band of the Hawk to rescue Griffith. Uh, when Guts gets to Griffith, Guts is so relieved, but at the same time so sad to see his friend in such a pitiful state. You, it was pity. You can only pity. It was so bad. But if you noticed well, um, Griffith does not reciprocate the love and care. Do you see what he did? Like the first thing he did when Guts took him in his arms?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the full thing there.
Yeah,
What do you
well,
say?
I'll repeat, right? What I said was Guts takes Griffith in his arm after being tortured for a year. And did you see what Griffith did? Like, he didn't reciprocate the care and the oh, I missed you or something like that. And if you missed it, it's not too bad. But essentially, he tries his best to choke Guts with his hands.
Oh yeah, I missed it. I didn't. I don't remember that.
And then we have Judo that has like a surprised face exclamation mark. But then like Griffith has no strength and he fails, right? And then he puts his hand on Guts' hand, right, and comes to terms that even in his anger or anything, he's no longer the man he used to be. He can't do anything. Like his dream is over. He is down the drain, and he was beginning to see those visions from the demons, right? They were
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, just so you wait, we got you. We come a little later, right? They escape. Bloodbath. Guts is very angry at the people that caused all that. He kills and cuts the tongue of the torsionary, right? And he's like,
Oh yes.
go to hell. And I was like, yes, thank you. I don't know if you
It's
guys
like,
enjoy that.
that door is 4 times the thickness of normal doors, but Guts doesn't give a fuck. He just goes through it.
It's like, I don't know what he told him, but it was close to go to hell or something. But not before I cut your tongue, and you feel what a little bit of what you did to the guy. They
Yeah.
go outside, right? They're like, oh shit, man, Griffith is so not what he used to be. What are we going to do? Who is going to be the new leader? Can we even keep the band of the Hawk, right? Without Griffith, it's not the same. And then Casca is like, I don't care what you guys say, but Griffith is very in a bad shape, and I need to be at his side and care for him to the best of my abilities. So that was her focus. And then Griffith takes some horses and goes away. He's like, my memory is a little bit hazy. I don't know what he tried to do, but it crashes down, right?
Yeah.
Crashes down. And then we have a scene that was chilling where Griffith, like, after all we've read, after his big dreams and all, the guy, man, was being tempted to end it all. We had like that stake in wood, or I don't know how you call it, right? That very dangerous looking piece of wood that was cut in a way that was like super dangerous, pointy and all. And he was like letting himself with the gravity slowly die on that, putting his neck on it. But then, like the prophecy said, he notices that he has the behemoth in his hand, and then he's like, oh my god, I couldn't be lower than that in my life. He doesn't think it, he feels it, he lives it, right? And the band of the Hawk finally catches up to Griffith. And then Guts runs, he's like, Griffith, you okay, dude? Puts his hand on his shoulder, and the spectacle begins. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
It's a great sequence of images, the whole eclipse there. It's one of the great scenes of the arc. I mean, it's the conclusion and everything, and it's hard to follow at some parts. But yeah, we talked about it a bit earlier. But it's like this big sacrifice, you know. Everyone dies except
Everyone.
from like one member of the squad and uh Casca and Guts that find a way that are left alive. I still don't know why. I guess this is explained later, or if it was implicit. I don't know what you guys think,
You know,
or
with
if you know Momo.
the Skull Knight and all,
Mm-hmm.
you will learn more about the Skull Knight as the story progresses, but essentially, people that are offered in that ceremony, they are near and dear to the person that sacrifices them. And
Mm-hmm.
once branded, hell on earth is going to be like completely focused on taking their lives. And in the meantime, also maximize the suffering or something like that. So everybody dies. Everybody. Nobody survives. But then the Skull Knight comes through and rescues Casca and Guts. And it's the prophecy, right? He is the struggler. He is supposed to live this life. He is supposed to live those struggles and fight and struggle more and fight and struggle more. And not only for himself, but what was done to Casca and what was done to his child. Because we have to talk about that, man. Like there are many horrific scenes in the eclipse, but
Yeah, in the forms of flashback, right?
can you guys still hear me? I had a problem with the connection.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
I was
good.
saying that all the horrific stuff that you see are like in form of flashbacks or you know dream-like sequences,
Exactly.
nightmare-like sequences actually.
If
Just,
if dreams are made of these, I don't want to see that. Oh yeah,
so yes.
you know there was this thing that I kind of forgot, but Griffith, when he got the behemoth in his hand and it was awakening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Guts was about to put his hand on his shoulder and everyone was catching up. Since he doesn't have a tongue, right? He can't speak.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like doing and trying to
Yeah.
say stay back. So he knew, right? He was like everybody's gonna die.
Yeah.
But before seeing those demons and being offered that opportunity, right, that was the approach he had. So to me it's sincere, right? You said, oh no, it's his tools, he wants to be king and he doesn't see them much more than that. But to me, right, the way I understand it is that they truly are near and dear to him, more than in a usefulness type of way. So yeah, essentially,
I
right,
guess.
the God Hand, four members. On a hand, there are five fingers, so you can guess that they're trying to add a last member to their ranks. And yeah, the egg of the conqueror in the hands of Griffith, and they simply take him, right, and lift him up to a pedestal, and yeah, he offers everybody as sacrifice. So everybody, Judo, Pepe, Guts, Casca, the guy that wanted to shoot Guts in the back, everybody has been branded. And like they said, right, everything is within the flows of causality. All has been decided. Your lives were woven to meet this point. So we shall hold the ceremony of the coming Lord. And then, yeah, simple as that. Everybody dies. Demons doing some of the most of the horrific bullshit, right? And Casca, bro, what a scene on the top of the altar, right? Judo. Do you remember how Judo? What happens to Judo?
Not exactly. No, could you maybe you could remind me?
Yeah, well, he was with Casca, right? They were trying to
Yeah.
escape their best, and it was a very very sad moment because
Oh yes, yes. They with the horse, and then
exactly,
they fall off the horse because it gets eaten by like this mouth in the ground on the ground.
exactly, and then he gets pierced, and he's deadly wounded. He's about to die, right? But we learn, if it wasn't obvious enough, that he had something for Casca. But as he tried to confess, he didn't have the strength to do so, and
Hmm.
succumbed and died. And what I found very like completely insane, right, in everything that happens, is that when we say that there is always a good ending, bruh, bruh, don't read Berserk.
I mean, it's not the end, but yeah, it's not a good ending because when they get Casca and then the new form of Griffith rapes her. There's so many rapes
Oh God,
that that
there is
manga.
a meme rape that is upcoming. You guys will eventually see it. You'll see. Just remember meme rape, because it's been memed to death. But essentially, right? Guts and Casca had a relation, a physical connection. Call it how you want, right? Uh, and she got impregnated by Guts, and they were supposed to have a child, right? Supposed to. And there they are in the eclipse. And there is the fucking demons stripping Casca down from her sword, stripping Casca down from her armor, from her clothes, from her underclothes, from everything. And she is powerless, right? Being completely. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, right? And we have our very well named struggler, Guts. Guts that is getting fucked up left and right, but is fighting like a demon to survive and to save somebody, right? And that somebody is Casca mostly, but even Griffith, he's like, we have to escape this hell, right? But he sees Griffith in that kind of egg changing, mutating, and he doesn't really have time to think through much as events are unfolding. He has like to kill everything that is coming his way, or else he dies. But then,
Hmm.
but then, we have this little dialogue with those horrific images, right? We see what Griffith sees, and his eyes, those iconic eyes. Uh, it's beautifully drawn and everything, but he says, everyone's death passes through me. I desired this. I killed them. It's a miracle. I feel nothing. I'm sinking. And that I'm floating towards you, crystal tears at the end. While I tried to avoid confronting my pain, I became cold hearted. And then he's like, what is all this that I'm seeing, right? Because it's like he's transcending humanity, and he's seeing that the behemoth and some very fucked up imagery, And he says it's like a spray, thoughts flowing and dripping into the distance before the sea, called into this strange world to be gods. And he's like, yeah, man, we move. Confused, but also very. He knows, right? He's like, this is what I wanted. I got promised. I sacrificed everybody, and I'm going through the motions to get back into the course of action, which was to become a king, to become the ruler of a kingdom. Shit that was supposed to happen before the sad. It was a misstep, but we can't fault him for that. He's human in the end, like Kyle said. That was a demonstration of humanity, the fuck up he did, and he got ruined. Physically, he wasn't the same. His political opportunity vanished. It was over for him. Everything was over, and yeah, he couldn't even start over because his body was fucked up. So, and that man had a dream. That man had a dream, and that dream was worth to him all that sacrifice.
No.
And I think it's very inspiring. I don't know. I think
I mean,
it's amazing. It really is. Like I don't know how to say it, but I believe that there are some human beings among us that are ready to, if they had a behemoth, right, and their near and dear ones to sacrifice, they would for their dream.
yeah,
And,
which
and yeah,
is
remember,
terrifying.
remember, right? Sacrificing people with the behemoth, it's not like, oh yeah, they get sent into some other dimension, heaven with fruits and wine, and no, it's hell. It's an eternity of suffering in hell. So, and they know, right? They are being told that, and they're like, yes, let's proceed. That's crazy. So yeah, essentially, right? Like we said, it's absolutely you have to read it. You have to see it. We cannot transcribe the feelings that those drawings evoke. But essentially, he becomes femto. Griffith he is reborn as femto, and femto comes down from his altar to meet Guts, who is struggling with a demon that is chewing on his arm. Guts, half dead, probably more than half, is confused. He asks Griffith, like, is it you? Like, what the fuck is happening? Is it like true? Is it a nightmare? And then he starts fucking groping Casca. He brings her like close and all. And right, like, before the eyes of Guts, who, remember, has a child with Casca, right? It's developing in her tummy. Well, he fucking does the how do you say? You can't fix it, right? You can't go back from doing such a horrendous act, and he does, right in front of him.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I do not know how you guys felt that moment, but the way it was drawn and what Guts did with a broken blade, right? Because what he tried to do was to use the sword to make that demon open its mouth. He strikes with rage and breaks the blade. It doesn't work, and then he uses the little broken blade, like it's completely destroyed, and he's like, bro, I need to move. If I can't like get my arm out of it, well, I'll cut my fucking arm. And he begins chopping at his arm with an expression of I don't know if we can call it immense rage, or I don't know, but it's just too much. I don't know if we can put it into words. It's an amount of anger that I don't think many people ever lived. Pretty much, it's the people that lived through that. Oh my god, I am so sorry for you guys. Like, I don't know if how you guys felt that scene, right? How did you feel it was tense? Did you feel there was like
Well,
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, go ahead.
well, I found I was like, what the fuck? Is this really happening? Like I was that the whole eclipse really is when you just go like you're baffled. Like, am I actually reading this? Like it's no, it was a fucked up scene, and I'm glad that it's there and everything because it just elevates it. It just goes like, oh shit, they went there, like so. It's
they did? And if you saw right the representation of Guts's anger, where we couldn't even see his pupils, it was
mm,
just all. It's I think it's a good artistic representation of someone being completely out, right? Like
Yeah, I think it's there's I think on the the miniature that you have put for the episode, you can see one of the images um that is used during the scene where he witnesses the raping of Casca by Femto, and it's at that point I had grown very fond of Casca, so I was like, she's a good character and all. But when this happens to her, I know it's a lot of disgust that you feel, and you can feel the anger from Guts' character, just with the drawings. It's really well drawn. It's not realistic, but it's drawn in a way that you can feel the emotions through the images.
it was absolutely horrifying. It was one of the demons starts saying, "So beautiful, these feelings that draw near, love, hate, pain, pleasure, life, death, everything is there." And she's literally crying of being so emotional, so it's so beautiful to her, right? And I was like, oh my god, he had to do it, right? It was not enough. He had to rub salt on the wounds. I don't know where you
Mhm.
guys stopped reading Berserk, right? But you did you know that there was a baby or not?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, we knew.
Okay, so do you know what happened to the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So yeah,
That's when I stopped there when the well, I think it was a bit further there, but pretty much there. And where her the fetus comes out, and it's just like, and she's like, oh no, I love it, and
yeah. Guts was ready
and
to kill it, right?
mm,
But then, yeah, man. What did you think, right? The the way the eclipse ended, just like that, with the Skull Knight coming through, picking up both of them, and they lived to see another day. But as they said, right, another day in a very different world now. You guys understood, right, what was gonna happen to the world after that event?
all the demons were gonna come out.
Yeah, the Age of Darkness.
Yeah. So, but I stopped there. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen.
I'm also very excited to hear you guys' thoughts. But yeah, essentially, we followed the adventures of Guts and Griffith, and we came to that separation point. There is no coming back. You guys, I know you enjoyed a lot the fact that there weren't many demons in the Golden Age, but be prepared to have a lot more demons. Like I know Jackie
think-
always told me he likes human versus human. That's the kind of struggles he enjoys. But now Griffith is a demon, so but if you still consider him human and you see the demons as his tools or an extension of who he is, uh, I think you'll like it. But if you are really displeased by the design and the fact that it's not realistic and all, I think you came too far to be displeased by that, to be honest. It's just
No, yeah, I know what I'm getting myself into. Honestly, at this point, like you know what's coming.
I don't think you can. Well, I'm sure I might be surprised, but I don't think we're going like. I'm pretty much into. Okay, I know what to expect. Like I mean, in terms of gore and whatever.
yeah, but in terms of story progression and conflict, that was more what I was saying. It's gonna be different. It's gonna
Yeah,
be different.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
You know, we came to a point where people were memeing, right? Hiatus, Miura always taking breaks and all, but as I said, the break might be permanent. I don't know if the assistants will pick up the work and try to finish it. I don't know if they will try to make a side story, like say, hey, Miura's work, it's there, we don't touch it. Here is Berserk, the ending, something that we created with what we remember the late Miura wanted to do, or something like that. If they
Can I
do
ask
that,
a
I
question?
would be happy.
And
Yeah.
if it goes into spoiler territories, you can just say I prefer not to answer.
Yeah.
You've read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, it? I don't know how to explain it. It's like, is it okay that it's if it never continues, or you think that the story at where it is, it's far from finished, or it's like it really needs like I don't know how to, like, I want to know if, like, you know Griffith's story and guts and everything, that's all already
Wrapped up.
resolved.
Yeah, no. So
Like, it's not like
it is.
Naruto and Boruto, you know what I mean? Like,
No,
it's
no,
not.
it's quite dramatic that we lost him because it took so long, right? It took so long to get where he got, and the promise of what was coming next. Oh my god. Like, just like what you read, right? And you were feeling that something big was gonna happen, right? Well, now it's complicated, right? He's not with us anymore, but just so you know, the main conflict against Griffith is unresolved,
Okay.
and you'll see. Where did you stop exactly?
Well, I finished the Golden Age, right? He fights. The Casca gives quote unquote birth. Then and it's pretty much where it ends, if I remember.
Okay. So that volume, you finished it, and yeah. Oh yeah, so I forgot to tell you guys about that, but there is something that got retconned. I don't know if you guys read it, but Kentaro Miura was like, "Yeah, scratch that. I don't want my story to include this anymore." And the part that is being retconned is at the end, once we see Griff speaking with the idea. Did you guys see that?
No.
No.
The idea of evil.
No.
Yeah, so it's quite big, right? It's fucking huge, right? In terms of where the story, why, things like that. Lots of answers, but lots of questions, more questions even. And I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I loved it, but maybe you guys won't, and we'll find that he did the right choice to cut it out. So maybe I'll throw a link to you guys so you can read.
Okay. I'm excited to see.
Um, yeah. Other than that, man, I think we covered pretty much most of the important parts of the Black Swordsman arc, the Golden Age. We all had our thoughts on Griffith, on Guts. I know that Kyle enjoyed Guts a lot as a character. Um, Jackie, I think you do also. You said
Yeah.
Casca, you liked Casca a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was obvious that I like Guts a lot. I like his development, and yeah, I think he's a great protagonist.
Do you think, because you always told me that with Naruto, for example, that the backstories and the things like that are cheap and
Mm-hmm.
not a good
Yeah.
way
Mm-hmm.
of making me care of the character. Like you said, Gara you didn't like, Obito you didn't like, shit
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? But would you say that it's still the same thing, but or
No,
it's
because
done differently?
no, it's done very differently, and it's done very tastefully in comparison to Naruto. I think that in this manga, the way that they presented their characters in a way that you start to learn from them in the present, and then you learn from their past in short flashbacks. I think it's the best way to do it, because it's this way that you get interested in the characters for what they are, and then what you don't know about them, you get to know it afterwards. It's not just a cheap trick to make you feel an emotion about some characters that you've just met. So for me, it was done very tastefully uh, in Berserk, and I respected that a lot because when flashbacks were coming in Berserk, it really didn't bother me at all because they were well done.
That's great to hear. Well, I was confident that the manga was good, that the story was good, that the characters were good, but I really wasn't sure if it was your type of stuff. But in the end, I see a lot of positives from you guys, and Kyle has been repeating it so many times that he can't wait to see what's next. And I every time I hear it, I'm like, yes, let's
Yeah,
go.
well, it's the same for me because honestly, I thought that I was going to read it for the homework and then I would be done with it. But honestly, I want to know what comes next, so I'll probably continue reading it.
I'm very glad to hear that. Eventually, maybe you guys will be interested in rereading some very crucial parts because you'll see that some future events hold on those past events. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a blast. Myself, like I said, years since I've reopened and read Berserk, and yeah, I will go back to the last chapter definitely. And yeah, I think we can even talk more about the philosophy of Guts and Griffiths in a separate video, not a long form podcast, like something structured. I think
Mm-hmm.
there is a very, very good material. It's very rich and inspiring
Yes.
for future writers because I believe that this is the type of dichotomy or head to head that you want to have in a story. Uh, it's just like Elle and Kira. It's just like so many things in fiction and in literature of uh, of a head to head, but not a David versus Goliath head to head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Something that tells a story that is to me more tasteful. and just it tells something else. It's not hey, Guts is the underdog. Okay, I know he could be David, but Goliath is not a single entity. Goliath is life, and I like the message of Berserk because of that. It tells us that we have to keep fighting. We have to keep struggling. We have to do our best every day. How matter how hard it can be, keep courage and just keep on going on. And I really love that message.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna repeat myself. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Anything else to add? We've gone on long enough, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was a great way to finish it. Yeah.
No, I think I said all that I needed to say.
Good. 2 hours and 30 minutes this time, boys. Do we have express homework and last words?
No, no last words for me. So there's, I think it's my turn, right, for homework.
Is it?
Yes.
It
Yes, it
is.
is.
So my homework is actually gonna be a game.
Ooh.
It is a. So I've played it, and it's a co-op game, and I played it with my girlfriend, and it took us 16 hours. Now, I don't think it's gonna take you guys 16 hours to do it. I think you guys have a grasp on
Of
video
camera
games.
controls.
Yes, especially on camera control, that will make you guys probably play it a bit quicker. However, I think you guys might. I think it's gonna take you a while. I don't think it's gonna take you 5 hours there. So it's not for next week. If ever you guys finish for next week, no problem, right? But take your time, enjoy it, and it's called It Takes Two, and in my opinion, it's one of the best co-ops. I find the way they use a lot of stuff is phenomenal.
Good to hear. It takes two.
Yeah, and I really would like if you would have take there's two characters. It's
Yeah, the
a
husband
guy
and
a
the
girl.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to take the wife.
Yeah, man, because everybody knows I'm wife material.
and the story is not the best, but it's the gameplay. For once there, the gameplay
You
is
don't say.
the gameplay is where, in my opinion, it shines. But I'm excited for you guys to play it and see if you guys are gonna like it or not.
I think I already love it, man, but I think Jackie already hates it. Not enough story.
You do me like that. You do
Well,
me like that.
there is a story, but I'll say it. It's the weakest part.
The music is better than the story.
It's not bad. It's a means for an end.
Yeah, but like, so the music is not the weakest. It's memorable. It's good.
I like I don't want to get too spoiled too much, but music is good.
Let's go. Gameplay,
Yeah.
good music. You got me on the boat, bro.
Especially there's one part where you'll music you guys will enjoy, and if ever, I know maybe too much there, but if ever you guys are playing, I'd like to look at you guys play it, and if not, you guys can always record it and put it on the channel.
With great pleasure. I think that you will definitely know the first time we play, because we'll have some need for help setting it up.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for the recommendation. Thanks again, guys, for your amazing support. those 21st, that was 21st episode that we've done. It's been a good ride, man, and we've done so many good things. When I think about it, looking back, so many subjects, so many different works that we got to experience and share. It's special. It really is. Most often, people recommend to their friends something and they never actually check it. And I can understand life is busy and all, but we got something special here, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's a great way to discover new things, and because like you say, sometimes you don't actually commit to you know getting the recommendation and following it. So I think it's a good way to explore and go inside the worlds of your friends and what they've been enjoying for the last couple of weeks or months or even years sometimes.
So I'm not a weirdo for liking Berserk.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Good, good. I feel good now. That's it for tonight, boys. Thanks again. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.
See ya.